Okay, thank you so much. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So thank you to everybody for participating in this session, and also the e-commerce Connect organization. And well, the topic we wanted to discuss today is how the cookie crumble, and how we can get prepared for a time or a world without cookies. I hope this is going to be very interesting for you, because I think this is something that probably most of your companies are already perceiving, no? Especially in the acquisition processes of customers. So, well, the third-party cookie is nearly dead. And this is something that is impacting all the MarTech AdTech ecosystem. And indeed, all this story started in 2020 when Google announced that they plan to block the cookies, the third-party cookies in their browser, and they will do it in the next 2 years. And but that was not about just Google. 3 months later, Apple sent the same announcement, and indeed Apple has already blocked the cookies in the browser. And it's not just about Google and Apple, it's about a lot of browsers that we are using, not just in web, but also in apps, that they are following this same approach. The interesting thing is that due to the penetration that Google Chrome has in the world, it is estimated that 86% of the browsers in the world are Chrome. The impact of this is going to be huge, especially with this deadline that Google has set up on January 2022. So let's see which is the impact of this. And of course, just very obvious, but it has an impact in the analytics, and it has an impact in the tracking that we are doing, in the behavior of our consumers in social media, in search engines, because this is based in cookies or it has been based in third-party cookies for the last 9-10 years. But there are also another impacts, and let's try to summarize this in this slide. So the first one, as we said, is collecting data. So we have been collecting data from social media search engines for the paid media, as I said, for the last 9 years based on cookies. And also we are tracking these consumers based on third-party cookies. Okay, so there will be a big impact on all this. That basically we will see that in traffic lost, and we will go into the detail later. But also in our analytics, because in order to understand the behavior of our consumers or customers in web and mobile, we are choosing these cookies. So we will see also some gaps in the analytics, and well, we need to check which is the trust we can get in this analysis that are based in cookies. Also, it has an impact in user experience or customer experience in UX, because why we were using also cookies in order to, for example, identify some stages of our customers buying a funnel, like which kind of products they, for example, save in the shopping cart, or they were interested when they abandoned the funnel, and so on. And also we use these third-party cookies in order to, store which are the user preferences, like, for example, which is the brand preferred by our customer, or similar things. And finally, what's going on is that we're going to lose visibility, especially on which is the return we are getting in the money, in the investment we are doing in ads. And this lack of visibility, we will have also an impact in how we are perceiving the return that we are getting in the spend in ads. And well, we'll go into the details, and we will put some numbers on the table later, but it will change the way that we are investing in paid media, especially, and it can also impact the revenue that we can generate. Well, it looks like when we are saying that the browsers are blocking the third-party cookies, it's something very technical, but indeed it has also a big impact in the business. And the reason this is happening, indeed, is because all the context is changing. Browsers, well, took their own decisions, and they are moving away from cookies, because they are pushed for the restricted privacy laws that, well, some governments are implementing. And the first ones was, for example, GDPR, that was implemented in May 2018. And after this, for example, 1 year, 1.5 years, California did the same in the US, and also in Asia, there are some countries that are moving in this direction. So we'll see that to be compliant is going to be a challenge, and all these laws are going to be much more restricted. And also the reason of this is that, well, consumers are also getting more mature in terms of how they understand the companies can collect their data and also can use their data. And this is the reason why, for example, we did some surveys and find out that each of 2 consumers delete the cookies regularly, or each of 2 consumers, for example, opt out all their consents regularly as well, which means consumers are getting, I would say, much more interesting in how their data is managed. And in this direction, all the context is changing, and we'll see much more changes because this situation is very dynamic at this point along this year and in the next ones. So, well, due to these changes in the context, and also, as we said, the browsers were one of the first taking their own decisions, we need to think about how we can adapt or how we can change our customer data strategy, because which is clear is we are in a context where at the same time that due to this situation, it's going to be much more difficult to get data in general from our customers or from our targets. At the same time, the consumers are demanding more personalization, and also was mentioned in previous presentations, more understanding of their interests, more relevancy in the messages or interactions they're having with the brands. So, well, it's a big challenge because we are losing some tools like the cookies in order to provide this, but at the same time, this is very demanding, and it's going to be much more demanding in the next years in order to be successful as companies. So we identified 4 main drivers that we need to take into account in order to adapt our customer data strategies. And the first one is we need to be compliant. So compliance is going to be, a big challenge, and the regulation related to privacy is changing, but this is something that should be in our radar because the context and also the consumers are asking for more transparency. The second one, we have been talking a little more about this, is this third-party cookies crumbling. And if this is happening, we need to look for alternatives, and we will discuss this in detail later. And the next one is, this is not just about the website, it's about mobile, it's about other browsers, as I mentioned before. And we are seeing things like ITP, which is a privacy led by Apple, or IDFA mobile, also mobile Apple mobiles, or ad blockers and so on. So we are having these challenges in order to collect this data and get these insights at the same time that it is required by our businesses. And the fourth one is probably more related to publishers, and is this tendency to expand their walled gardens. And we are seeing this with Google and with Apple and Amazon, but basically these companies, especially the top worldwide publishers, they have the opportunity to collect data and identifiers from the customers because they are interacting with them, but also because they are collecting this information from the advertisers that are investing in their ad networks. So we see all these 4 drivers in the market, and we need to take this into account in order to define which is going to be our customer data strategy in the next years. Yes, to be a little more practical, let's think about what's happening in the customer journey due to the impact of this cookie-less block. So this is Joao, and Joao, falls in one of our audiences, target audiences. So he is impacted by one of the advertising platforms that we are investing in, and see one of our sponsored content. And then Joao lands into our website, and at this point, with cookies, he is recorded as a new visitor. So the advertising pixel is fired, and then we record the interaction of Joao in our website, and we can collect data about what he is interested in, which product he is interested in, and so on. He abandons the website, but 1 week later, Joao see again an ad in this advertising platform or another one, And in this case, this ad is much more personalized because as we are collecting database of the cookie, then we are able to retarget through these ad networks in a more relevant way. He's landing again in our website. And well, the point is that we can personalize this second interaction because this is recorded as a second session of a return visitor. Well, our website is great. And then well, Joao is super interested in our product. He's converting and he generates an order. And based on the cookie again, we are able to, well, first inform the advertising platform that he receives the attribution of this conversion. And also we can suppress all the ads in order to push you out to acquire this product because he has already ordered it. What's happening without cookies? Well, here we can see, well, Joao is doing the same customer journey, but at this point, as the cookie is going to be blocked, then we cannot retarget to the ad network based on the behavior he has in our site. And then when he's coming again 1 week later to our website, the point is that he is registered not as a return, he is a new visitor because we don't have its tracking. This tracking is lost because of the cookie is disappearing or blocked by the browser. And again, when he ordered, we are not able to attribute, the conversion to the ad network. And also we are not able to suppress because again, the track is lost. So you can see that the impact is huge and based in numbers. This is a study that developed a company which is called DD Germany. They did it in 2020 and it was based in Safari because the traffic of Safari Germany loss is quite high. So, well, I think it's a good reference. So the first thing is, because we're losing the cookies, the first impact is the traffic loss. And this company, based on their studies, they estimated this in a 30%. So we lose also the attribution. And the point is, as we are losing the attribution, we also, the perceived return on advertisement spent is reduced. And they estimated this in a 20%. Why? Because we are not able to attribute, we are not able to measure which is the return we are getting from the campaigns and the paid media we are investing in. And as a result of this, also we're reducing the spend. And this is not yet something that is generated, I would say, by a human decision. It's also automatic because when we are working with bet management systems, if they perceive that the return of advertisement spend is reduced, automatically they also reduce the spend. That could be a wrong decision because at the end of the day, we don't have the right analytics as we're losing the cookies in order to confirm that really, this paid media is not efficient. And as a result, because of taking decisions that could be wrong, they estimated a revenue loss of 15%. Well, this is just a reference, but you can see which is the business impact of, well, the cookieless crumble. Everything looks very negative till here, but well, let's give some positive insights. So how can we manage the situation, or how can we get adapt? So well, we identified at a very simplistic way 3 approaches. The first one is, okay, well, this is what it is. Okay, I will be focusing my KPIs, and well, there are a lot of options in the market. In MarTech, you are familiar with this schema. Well, I can deal with everything. I'm a marketer and, I'm used to all this dynamic. So, well, let's just put focus in personalized experience, contextual personalization, and so on. Second option could be, well, let's look for some workarounds. And indeed, there are some solutions in the market right now that could have a tactical approach, but can be helpful. Okay, and well, I'm worried about privacy and consent, but I can be worried about everything. I can use with, for example, a 3-party ID graph. Well, but at the end of the day, it's helpful, it's tactical, but I'm giving data also to these vendors as other advertisers. And well, this is not an strategic approach. What we recommend is having a more strategic approach, which means leverage much more on first-party data. And in order to do this, what we need to do is create a good, trusted, reliable customer data foundation. Okay, and in order to do this is when solutions as the customer data platform appears, the CDPs. This is where Tealium is a player, and basically the solutions create a unified customer profile in real time, connecting all the channels, digital and not digital, paid media or media as well, in order this customer profile can be available in every interaction for personalization. And also this profile is enriching every interaction in order to identify which is going to be the next best action and through which channel. And in order to do this kind of systems use a technology which is called ID resolution, deterministic one. In our case, it's called visitor stitching, that allows you to identify based on the different identifiers the customers can have, like Google IDs, Facebook IDs, or Criteo IDs, or email IDs, mails, etc., who this persona is to personalize every interaction. So, well, this is a lot, I know, but just going into a little more of detail. In the case of Tealium, which is a CDP, what we do is we orchestrate data across the whole company. So the unified customer profile is represented here in the middle with the scale looking at the phone. And what we do is leveraging on a marketplace of more than 1,200 connectors with the main MarTech and NATech solutions in the ecosystem, like all the Google platform, Salesforce, Adobe's, Criteo's, Eco is also, we also connect with some local players. We create this unified customer profile, connecting all the channels, and then we are able to do things like, well, when we are impacting a target persona through a Google campaign and they land in our website, then the CDP uses this ID resolution in order to identify who this persona is, and then retrieve in real time the customer profile. And we are able to personalize this interaction, but also when the person abandons, we have information in this profile, although it is unknown, in order to persist this information, break through the cookie, which is going to disappear, and then personalize the interaction in the media, or synchronize in order, to suppress from media and activate, for example, email or call center channels. So basically the message is to innovate to date, and if you want to take I would say a more stake approach that is going to be taken in 2 months or 3 months, is I would say 1-2 years one, and you need to scale it and go step by step. But the tendency of the market is to leverage much more in first-party data, and then well, exchange value with the customer in order you can collect or create your own walled garden as advertiser with data and customer identities. And well, this is the way you can, move from a challenge that we have right now in the context of privacy and cookie crumble to make of this an opportunity for your business. Because as a key takeaway for my session today, but basically the customers are expecting, because of the maturity, that, well, you will have to forget about the cookies. You need also to remember which are their interests. You need to be much more relevant. You need these omni-channel frictionless interactions with them. So basically, in order to do this, you need to define a new strategy and look like a first-party one. Also, of course, feeding this with other third parties, but taking the ownership of your data can be the best one. So Tealium can help on this, and well, we have we will be here in the e-commerce connect, and we are having some meetings with some companies and can share use cases related to this with more than 1,000 customers that we have worldwide. And basically, that's all from my side right now.
Thank you very much, Carmen. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was very interesting.